Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Koop'd podcast. The podcast that still, after all this time, is unsure on whether they are more kid or squid. As always, folks, my name is Koopa, and each week I sit down with one of my friends and we talk about all the happenings of pop culture, video games, whatever the hell I feel like talking about this week. And this week, I feel like talking to one of my very good friends. She's a Splatoon commentator, a Twitch partner, and if you're watching on YouTube, you'll know that she has the Rotten Tomatoes score of certified fresh. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm, cooped up welcome to my friend, the multi-talented Mellana. Mellana, how are you?
I'm doing good. You know, it's the weekend. I really can't complain. We're having a good day so far. I got my coffee, and I'm talking to my good friend Koopa right here, and I'm set.
Yes, thank you so much for joining me this week. And if you've been listening in order, you will know that Mellana was held at Twitter gunpoint by PK Sparks to be on my podcast. So just for context, I recorded by the time this PK's episode will come out next week. So by the time you guys hear this, you'll already know the story. But I mentioned that as going through the list of people I want to talk to, I've met a bunch of different people through my years in esports and doing all that stuff, and we got on the subject of talking about Splatoon, and then of course we brought up you, and I was like, oh yeah, Mellana would be such like a great guest for my podcast, and he was like, I'm gonna tweet at her right now and tell her to come on your podcast, and I'm just like, oh my god, is he really gonna do this? And then he did it. I
love PK. PK is such a great energy to have in your life.
Yeah, we were just talking off air about how you bring a very like lawful chaotic energy to my life, and PK certainly brings a lot of chaotic neutral energy into my life as well. So
I see you lean towards the side of the chaos.
Oh yeah, I'm a chaos agent. No WandaVision spoilers, but I'm definitely a user of chaos magic in this house.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, but
I can get behind that.
Yeah, but no, it worked out perfectly. We're pals. You're someone that I really wanted to talk to, especially topically. Considering what just got announced at last week's Nintendo Direct. But we'll get to that in one second, because for the first time in a couple of weeks, we have a viewer question this week. Woo! If I had applause, this is where I would insert it.
I got you.
Yes, thank you. That is, in case you guys didn't know, there is an actually live studio audience in my house right now. So, and they don't know that I'm wearing basketball shorts, so it's fine. But, so this week's question comes from Caitlin, and she asks, and I quote, "Hello, Koopa. How did you end up with such a great ass? Please answer on air. Thank you." And my answer is going to be 3 words: Ring Fit Adventure. That's a good
hashtag not sponsored.
Yes, no, not sponsored at all. I hate cardio, and I also hate leg day. So this is a product of pain and sweat and tears. So yes, thank you for your question, Caitlin. Hopefully you write back. Love you. Anyway, moving on from that, this week, as you guys can tell, my guest is Mellana. And Mellana, for the people that, I think I did a decent job covering in a nutshell what you do. But in case you wanted to delve into more detail, explain to the people what your footprint on the internet is, if they might not know who you are, which is a crime because you're great.
So I am a Twitch partner. I stream mostly Splatoon 2 with a little sprinkling of Genshin Impact and Phasmophobia. But Splatoon 2 is my main game. My channel is family friendly, so I think that is something that can be a little bit difficult to run on the internet. But I think my community does a really good job with that. I really, if I haven't emphasized it enough, I really love Splatoon. I compete on a team called Element R. We are just a bunch of friends who really like to play Splatoon together, and I like to call us the best team who doesn't practice. So we don't practice together, but we play pretty well for a team that doesn't practice.
Honestly, that's listen, some of the best teams in the world probably, don't practice and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself too, to make myself feel better. But I also commentate Splatoon. I've been invited by Nintendo to commentate their NA Inkling Open, which is their like North American top team tournament at PAX East, and then after that I was re-invited to go commentate at their World Championships, where the top team from each region got invited to play in LA, and that was such a surreal experience. I was so nervous. I was pacing back and forth for 2 hours and almost threw up. Um, so that was a really really interesting time. And then I even got to meet the creator of Splatoon, so Nogami-san, and that was I saw his face and I cried. That's how beautiful it was.
That's great, honestly, and like that's part of the reason why I knew you'd be such a great guest, because you are number one, we are commentator brethren. We are in the sticks together in this wild world that is esports commentary. And yeah, your pedigree speaks for itself. You and I don't hesitate to say this, and I'm not just saying this because you're my friend. You're great. You are one of the best at your craft, and every time I get to like, I love watching my friends succeed at anything they do and stuff like that. So like, I watched you on the big stage at LA and like at all like the big NA Opens and stuff like that, and like it's just one of those things where it's just like I get to say like, yeah, I know that person, like that's great. That's all. So
I love that. Thank you so much for your support, Koopa. It's been a really good friendship, and I hope we can continue this friendship for many years to come.
That's right. And that I remember, I believe the first time we met each other, because I think the reason you were brought up last week is because we were talking about Too Many Games
Yes.
in Philadelphia. It's a yearly convention held in Oaks, Pennsylvania every summer. And they have an event called Smashadelphia that they've held for the last few years there. And, most of the time it's primarily Smash. In the beginning times, it was mostly Smash stuff. But in this past one back in 2019, because 2020 happened, and unfortunately, but yeah, we Splatoon was going to be there in force, and you were there, and I think PK probably introduced us together. It all kind of blends together after a while.
Yeah.
But I just remember we're commentators, and we're hanging out, talking shop, and all that stuff, and you're just such a positive force of energy, and I'm just like, yo, this person's mad cool. And then like, whenever we go to nationals that cross Splatoon, and Smash, we'd both be there, and we'd always talk shop, and you're always one of my favorite people to like run into when it comes to like, like at these big esports gatherings. So yeah, this is just, again, my podcast is merely just a vessel for me to reaffirm to myself that I do have friends.
I'm joking. What a mood.
I try every day. I really do. But no, you were, and again, I'm super grateful for your time here today. And you listed a lot of cool talking points. Whether as a competitive Splatoon player / commentator. But before we get to that, I want to ask you just where did your interest in video games like spark? Because we're kind of from like the same age bracket, so I feel like a lot of like where we got our like starts and interests in video games are probably going to cross over. But for the people at home, I'm sure they're just as curious. So what are your earliest memories playing video games in general?
So I feel very fortunate. I guess fortunate is the word that I'm going to use for this. That I grew up in a family where pretty much everybody played video games. Like,
oh wow,
I grew up with my brother, so my brother is 2 years older than me, so we're close in age, and he grew up with video games. And I have a sister who's 11 years older than me, but she also grew up with video games. But it was just like a way for us to be able to bond together. And I kind of credit it to my mom, because I'm pretty sure my mom plays more video games than us, but like, the phone games until like 3 in the morning. We've just always had video games in our house. So like when I was growing up, it was kind of natural for me to kind of lean that way. And I guess some of my earliest memories were playing Mario Party with my siblings, and I was such a sore loser. Like I do not take losing well. Even now, like I'm definitely better than when I was like, I don't know, 10 years old. But when I was younger, I was really just a horrible person to play with. Like my sister would get all the stars, and then the next star that she got, I would like slap the controller out of her hand and run, like walk away. So like I'm surprised that my siblings even want to like interact with me anymore, because truly I was a menace.
That's so funny. And you know what? Listen, whether it's you as a 10-year-old or me as a 26-year-old, Mario Party just like something about Mario Party just invokes this like feral
Yes.
rage inside of you. Like it's
Yes.
awful.
It really is. It's just you want to get the star. Like you could win every mini game. You could win every single mini game and never touch the star because I don't know, someone's just like sabotaging you around every corner.
Yeah, and there's always a chance time that comes up at like the worst possible time, and of course it lands on you, and of course it swaps stars, and then you accidentally yank on the N64 too hard, and oops, game freezes. We got to play something else. I'm pointing fingers at me right now. This is me putting on the clown makeup in the mirror right now because this is exactly.
You're not pointing fingers at me because I relatable content, like so relatable.
Yeah, essentially we are Spider-Man looking at Spider-Man right now because we're both
Yes.
two sides of the same coin.
Love that.
No, but that's awesome, and I think that's really really interesting because most of my friends that I talk to, their video games aren't necessarily like as integrated into their families like that, and I think that's a very very interesting story because like I played a lot of video games with my brother growing up and stuff like that. We shared a Sega Genesis and stuff like that, so like my parents would like humor me in like playing video games. Like my mom would like I'd make my mom play as Tails and Sonic, and like she would have no idea what she's doing. She's just but she would do it because she loves me, and it's fun, and it's actually really funny. It wasn't until I started getting like more involved in the esports as in like an adult where I like started seeing like inklings of my parents like wanting to get more interested in video games. Yeah, like my dad my dad's like the biggest culprit of it. My dad has like a Twitch account and stuff like that, and like he's constantly like shouting me out to all of his Facebook friends, and
that's so cute.
Yeah, and now that he's like retired, he like wants me to like show him how to play video games and stuff like that. So like
I love that. That really makes me happy.
Yeah, so guys, if you're listening at home, give me a suggestion of a game to play with my dad, and please don't tell me something like Dark Souls or something. Like give me like a non-AAA like title.
What about Splatoon 2 for the Nintendo Switch?
Oh, you know what? That's a good starting point. I see what you're doing there.
Just selling my game. Don't mind
true.
me.
So what were some of your favorite games growing up? Do you have like a favorite game from your childhood that like still sticks in your mind?
I had played so many games in my childhood that I would say that I have fond memories of a lot of them. Donkey Kong Country, Pokemon Stadium 2, Time Splitters. That was an interesting one.
Wow.
GoldenEye. I remember playing that with my brother.
Ooh, yeah.
What else? Like Phantasy Star Online, Kirby's Air Ride.
Oh man,
that was a really prolific one in my
when
childhood.
are they gonna give us another one of those games, Mellana? Can we
I'm
manifest
saying.
this into existence?
Yes, please. Let's like circle ourselves with Kirby, make a summoning circle on the ground with a little warp star.
Yeah. I will take all of my Kirby merchandise, including my $50 Meta Knight plushie that watches me when I sleep. And
okay, yes.
I will put him in the middle of my summoning circle because I would do anything for another Kirby Air Ride game.
Me too, dude. That was like such a good time in my childhood. I even had IRL friends who played with me, and we would play like the free run, and we would just like hoard all the cars and like play like we would like make up scenarios. It was like very 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 good time.
That's so funny, and it's also funny you mentioned the Pokemon Stadium games because I have very like interesting memories with those games growing up because so I've never actually I've owned both games and I've never actually beaten the gym leader like castle before like on my own file, but it wasn't until I rented the game at a Blockbuster with my friends because yes, I'm old and Blockbuster was still sort of a thing when I was a kid. So I went to a Blockbuster with my mom. And we rented Pokemon Stadium 2. And to this day, the only time the planets like aligns like specially that day or something like that. And I like picked like the right combination of Pokemon and I was able to beat the gym leader castle. And I'm just like, wow, was sick, and that was like one of like my proudest accomplishments as a child. And that trip was subsequently ruined because I wanted to buy the Card Captors they had a Card Captors Sakura staff like for sale in the Blockbuster. And I love Card Captor Sakura, and my mom wouldn't let me get it because it was too much money. I'm like, fine.
No.
You hate me. I get it.
But ditto to that Blockbuster. I remember going to Blockbuster and renting games too. Most notably, was it Hey You Pikachu?
Ooh.
So I rented that from Blockbuster, and I distinctly remember just sitting in my living room playing Hey You Pikachu, and just for like a good half hour being like, Pikachu, pick up the apple. Pikachu, pick up the apple. And Pikachu's just like, what? What do you want me to do? You want me to play with the ball? And I'm like, oh my god, Pikachu, go pick up the apple. And like, would not. Pikachu would not.
That is so funny. That is a game I think I remember doing an assignment in like one of my like grade school classes where like you have to write what you want for Christmas from Santa. And I think on my list I put Hey You Pikachu, and just saying, still waiting. But it's good, man.
Yes.
Come on. My letter must have clearly gotten lost in the mail. It's fine. I understand. It happens.
It's okay. USPS just sometimes it happens with them. You gotta give them some time,
Yeah, it did. 10 to 15 business days. That's fine. I'm too broke to pay for
business
premium
years,
shipping.
maybe.
Yeah, I guess they don't count weekends ever in business years. But like we mentioned at the top, you are you claim your home in Splatoon. So I'm very curious myself. So how did you get involved with Splatoon, and via in general and competitively, and at what point did that like evolve into being a commentator? Because I can speak from my experience as a Smash person. It kind of came like hand in hand, like, but also like I am a significantly worse Smash player than you are a Splatoon player. So I think my start in commentary came as like I just kind of want to like have something else to do while I'm sitting here thinking about what I did wrong. But I'm very curious about where your start in Splatoon competitively and such came from.
Okay, so I guess what I guess the best way to put it is that like my streaming and my Splatoon playing came kind of hand in hand. I played Splatoon 1, but I didn't have any friends who played. So I was just that kid in their parents' basement, just yelling at the TV screen, like throwing the Wii U pad at the TV, being angry.
Oh God! Don't do that. You only have one of those.
Yeah, it's true. But when I started streaming, I actually started streaming with Splatoon 2, so I was pretty like unknown in the community. Didn't even know there was a community for Splatoon, but I just thought it would be a fun game to stream. And then when I started streaming, I ended up getting a clip within my first week that ended up getting like 18,000 views or like something ridiculous.
Oh, wow.
So that's like kind of how I kickstarted my streaming. And then I just felt like whenever I play a game, I just always feel like I need to do the best that I can do. So I just worked on improvement from there. Playing competitively hadn't really crossed my mind at that point. But I did end up going to LANs because I heard that there were LANs in Long Island at Aeon, right?
Yes.
So that was my first experience with LANs, and I had gone to one. I thought it was really cool. I got to meet a lot of really cool people. And then I want to say it's the second or third like local that I went to. They were looking for a commentator for finals, like for the final whatever, and my really good friend Acid Sunshine, or Melissa, she was just like, hey, do you want to commentate with me? And I'm like, huh? It just commentating had never crossed my mind. I wasn't really interested in commentating. She's just like, it'll be fun, like, it's like all girls commentating finals. Great, love it. See you in the commentary booth. I'm like, okay. So that's how I got started with commentary. I kind of got thrown into it, but it's like really fun. I like it. I think it gives you a little bit of the jitters before, because I'm always like, oh, what if I like can't get my words out because word vomit? But it always works out.
Oh no, like that's even to this day. Like I think this will be like my 6th year of doing commentary as like an actual thing. And like I still to this day I'm just like, what if my tongue just falls out of my mouth? Like, what if I just forget how to speak? It still happens sometimes. So like, I definitely like resonate very strongly with like the nerves and all
Mhm.
that stuff. But I also resonate with the fact that like, kind of being in the right place at the right time to kind of like
Yeah.
get your start in that stuff, because that happened a bit with me too, where like I went to like a pretty small local by my house, and at the time I was going to that I was going to tournaments, getting streams like was having a stream up was like kind of still like a luxury and stuff like that. And we just happened to have like one at the place I was going to, and
Mhm.
they were like, "Hey, we need a commentator. Hey, you look like you're not doing anything. You want to commentate?" And I'm just like,
Yeah.
"Duh, what, sir? I'm wearing a shirt with an anime character on it. Are you sure that's appropriate for what we're doing here?"
Yeah.
Um, and then fast forward, all these years later, and it was the best. It paid off to be a scrub that day, and stuff like that. But no, that's really awesome, and especially they're being a woman in commentary and esports in general is definitely like it's a mixed bag to put
Mhm.
it bluntly. But I think again, I shout to the heavens. What you do is great, because there aren't a lot of women commentators even now, and so I don't want to make it a gender thing, but like, how does that ever like sit in your mind that like there's only really there isn't like a lot of like high level like women in commentary and esports and stuff like that.
I mean, the thought definitely has crossed my mind, but I think what makes Splatoon, like the Splatoon community, really special is that there's just I don't think it's like a microcosm of the greater esports community, because the Splatoon, wow, that was word vomit right there. Uh, the Splatoon community is just very accepting of people of all like backgrounds. So I want to say that there are a lot of like women who are interested in commentating in the Splatoon community who have like started to become more prolific. Some names that come off the top of my head: Siren, Rissa. So uh, we have women who are interested in commentating who are supported more or less wholly by the community. So I think that is really special about the Splatoon community, that we don't get too many people who are like trolling and be like, "Oh, women shouldn't like talk about video games. Video games are a men's thing."
Yeah,
Like
you don't have the K Konas showing up like in person and stuff like that.
yeah, so usually it works out pretty well. And even beyond just like women, we have folks who are non-binary, who are trans, who are commentators, and I think that is really cool that those folks are also supported relatively well in the community as well.
No, and I'm glad you brought up like the fam like the inclusiveness of Splatoon,
Mhm.
because that's like, as an outsider, I've been to a handful of Splatoon events and stuff like that, and number one, every time I've gone, it's been a great time. Splatoon is a
Mhm.
really fun game to watch
Mhm.
live and stuff like that, and we can kind of delve more into that a little bit later for the folks that might not understand what we're talking about. But I love like the family friendliness of it, because whenever I've gone to Splatoon events, there's a lot of parents and like
Mhm.
a lot of families that are like there like with their kids and stuff like that, and I love that. I love like the feeling of like you can be, like I said, you could be you could be a woman, you could be trans, you could be non-binary, you can be a kid that just wants to go
Yeah.
take a step into esports, and you can have the full support of people around you. And because I
Mhm.
know most you know parents and esports don't necessarily, and video games in general, like, don't always mix. So
Yeah.
like it's kind of a hard thing to explain, especially when you're like, hey mom, I want to play this game where like you are an anthropomorphic child that might also be a squid, and sometimes they swim in the ground and they shoot guns. Can I go? Can I borrow $20? So like, that's always been like one of my, as an outsider, like I've always appreciated that about the Splatoon community. It just feels
Mhm.
like a really like comfy couch, if that makes sense.
Yes, agreed. I think so too. But like I feel like realistically, all communities have their bad eggs, but I think that our good eggs definitely far outweigh the bad eggs.
Now, are these the eggs that you catch, or are they clams in that one mode? I forget. I'm never
It's
sure.
the clamblets.
There we go. That's what it was.
Yeah, we have the one rotten clam that just won't go. They'll just keep spinning because of netcode and latency, but won't go into your pocket. You know.
That's fantastic. But we've talked at length about Splatoon, but in case you're not familiar with what Splatoon actually is, Splatoon is a first party Nintendo franchise. It is a third person shooter. Like I said, it features you play as a squid or a kid. And basically, actually, I'll let you explain this because I'm still like as the outsider, I only know like the very surface level of Splatoon. So like in a nutshell, like give us the people at home that might not be familiar, what Splatoon is, what you're getting yourself into.
Think of it like a paintball game. It's a shooter, but it's not quote unquote violent as many shooters can be. It's very fun. It's very colorful. The mode that came out with the game is called Turf War, so you have to like cover the ground with your color ink. You use the ink to shoot. You use the ink to swim. So it's very unique in the way that it plays, or I guess in the goals that you have for the game and in the mechanics of the game. And I think the most unique mechanic that the game offers is something called motion controls. So many console shooters have aim assist when you're using a controller because when you use the sticks, you can't really aim super accurately, maybe like you would do with a mouse and keyboard. So they give you aim assist, so you kind of like it kind of adjusts your aim a little bit for you. Splatoon doesn't offer that because they have motion controls, which is a little bit akin to a mouse and keyboard where you can move the controller to kind of adjust your aim a little bit, and I think it really should be the future of console shooters, in my opinion.
No, I'm with you. Like the few times I've played Splatoon, the franchise debuted back on Nintendo Wii U, and in case you're asking what that is, same.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It is collecting dust in my closet somewhere. It came out in May 2015. And the second iteration, Splatoon 2, came out on the Nintendo Switch in July of 2017. What I don't remember, I don't think it was a launch title, was it? Or it was like damn
for the Switch?
Yeah, it was like
it was not anywhere close. I think Breath of the Wild came out at least a year before that.
That's what. Oh my god, the Switch came out in 2016. Am I losing my mind?
Let me Google this really quick. No release date. It came out 2017 March 3rd. Yes. Oh,
okay,
I guess maybe not a year then, but a few months.
Okay, yeah, that checks out. Because I remember when I got my Switch, I got it with Splatoon 2 and stuff like that. So yeah, Splatoon 2 definitely like makes the motion controls like much easier because you're not like like harbored down with the awful peripheral of the Nintendo Wii U gamepad and stuff like that. So like that. But I'm with you because I'm not a huge like I don't want to say I don't like shooters because I do enjoy shooters, but like I'm not gonna go out of my way to play one unless I'm like going over to my friend's house and they're playing Halo or something like that. But like just for that exact reason, like I'm not like a huge like. You get into like a lot. I feel like the people you get into the most like visceral arguments about video games with are people that play FPSs a lot. Because those are the guys that are always like screaming like, nah, PC's master race, and then it's like, okay, man, I'm just trying to buy snacks. Like I'm not trying to get into this right now. But something about like the motion controls of Splatoon just feels so like it feels natural, and like I would love to see like other shooting games like incorporate that. Like if Nintendo ever wants to make a Call of Duty game, like with motion controls.
Can you imagine?
Oh my, I would die. It would be so funny.
It would be really funny.
But yeah, so like the second iteration of the game Splatoon 2 is what came out in July 21st, 2017. So as someone that's played both, what are like some of like the biggest changes like going from game to game? Because that's always what the people care about in these competitive games.
So for me, I didn't play Splatoon 1 very competitively. I just played solo and it was rage-inducing, as always. But I think the biggest difference for me was that for the first game, I used stick controls. So I used the the controls that I don't recommend now to players. So I was not good at the game. And then when I moved to Splatoon 2, I was not good at either aiming method. So I moved to motion controls and it was much smoother. So again, highly recommended. I think but one of the biggest differences between Splatoon 1 and 2 was just Splatoon 1 had much smaller maps and was a lot more imbalanced when it came to different weapon types and different specials. There were specials that you would just literally could not counter. So I think Splatoon 2 did a relatively good job with making specials and making like weapons that weren't so overpowered, I would say.
Yeah, no, that tracks. And also, both games obviously have like a single player campaign and stuff like that. So like, it's a great introduction to like using different weapons and stuff like that, because there's there's your traditional guns and stuff like that, like kind of sort of that you get in like shooters. But they're all, like you said, in the vein of like paintball and like Nerf guns, so like they look like really silly and colorful. But you can also like, there's an umbrella that shoots like ink out of itself. There's a giant paint roller you can use and stuff like that. So like, there's a great amount of variety with it, especially because Splatoon is a team game and stuff like that when you play it, with other people and stuff like that. So like, there's always that that inner chess game of like, what combinations are broken, what specials are really good. I think I use like one of the Gatling guns because I am a noob. and stuff like
Splatling. Let's go.
That's it. That's me. That's my turf.
Spatlings are kind of nice. I do not fault you for picking.
Yeah, I think I used the one that has like the curling rock as like the special and stuff like that. And so like it's been a minute since I played Splatoon, and for topical reasons, I actually I'm thinking about picking it up again and stuff like that. So your years of you telling me to play Splatoon, Mellana, it might actually come to fruition.
I'm ready for it.
I'm here for it. So like, would you say that your like overall experience with Splatoon 2 was like better? Because I know that like Nintendo was like when it comes to like patching and like updating like their competitive games, Nintendo is definitely like hit or miss with certain things, especially like coming from Smash, where like they release a patch update and it's like that scene from SpongeBob where his like brain's burning down because he can't remember his name. Because like we're all just trying to figure out like what the hell changed and stuff like that. But like Splatoon gets like very thorough and like professional patch notes and stuff like that.
Yes.
So like, would you say that your competitive experience like got better over time, like with the updates and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would say so. The reason that the patch notes are so thorough for Splatoon is because of how big Splatoon is in Japan, whereas it's like not the biggest franchise here. It's like really really big in Japan. Like they had a draft or a league that was like in connection with their national baseball team. Like,
oh wow,
it's like huge in Japan. There are sponsored teams, like straight up like big sponsors, not like like I just made a esports organization.
Yeah,
like
no chicken noodle esports and stuff like that.
yeah. So like the players in Japan and what they play kind of impacts how the patch notes go, because Nintendo is paying attention to the things in Japan. So the reason they're so thorough is because of how of the matches that are played in Japan, I would say. I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that Smash is not as big in Japan as it is here. Am I making a?
It's like, you know what? It's weird. At least when it comes to Smash, like Nintendo is, and this reared its ugly head over a couple of months ago and stuff like that. But like Nintendo has always kind of just like tolerated like it feels like the Smash community at times. Like there's never really been like a full like embrace and hug for the community and stuff like that. I know in when it comes to like Japanese tournaments, and I think this is like probably across like most esports in Japan, because gambling is illegal in Japan. So like there is I think like one of like the prizes for like a big like Smash tournament Japan was like a giant bag of rice or like a pro controller like signed by Sakurai or something like that. So like
Amazing.
yeah, it's pretty epic when I think about it. But like there hasn't really been like there aren't a lot of like big scale like Smash tournaments to like that level like for Smash, at least to my knowledge, in Japan. Which is interesting. Maybe someday, you know.
Maybe one day.
I would love to go to Japan and just win a sack of rice. Like I'm not.
Can you fit that in your carry-on? Can you bring it back?
I will bring an extra bag strictly for it. Once the world gets back to a place where it's like semi-normal, Japan is definitely on my trip of places to go. Rice or not, I would love to visit Japan one day. That would be fun.
Same brain, right there with you.
I just want to get lost in an arcade and have to call my mom and beg for money because I can't afford a trip home.
Yes. One-way trip to Japan, straight to the arcades.
See, this is what I mean. You bring out the worst gaming habits in me. So
oh, I get that a lot.
Yeah. so like just saying, when I go broke in Japan in 2023, folks, come back to this podcast and you'll understand why. So yeah, so we established that you are you're a prolific commentator. Do you remember like what your what's your first big moment of like, oh my god, like I'm a commentator like happened? Like what's like one of like the first like big like high profile like events that you went to and stuff like that is?
I would say after that first commentary set, like I don't know, I guess I was just very motivated, so I kind of like wiggled myself into commentary sets at like Genesis or the majors that we held. So some of them being like Long Island Splat is one of them that we held in Long Island, where people would just fly out from pretty much anywhere in the world to be there. Yeah, but I guess the obviously the biggest one is when Nintendo reached out and was like, hey, would you like to commentate for this thing, because like we have been watching your streams and you're kind of cool. And I'm like, you've been watching my streams?
Nintendo thinks I'm cool?
Yeah, I'm like, what
That's when you start calling everyone you know and you're just like, did you prank call me? Like, what's going on?
Dude, like literally people were like, hey, like I guess when Nintendo reaches out to you, they can't say like, hey, we're Nintendo like directly. They'll just be like, hey, could I get your Discord? I would like to talk to you about something. Like they're like kind of like not really obvious about what they wanted from me.
Right, you're right.
So I'm like, oh, okay, sure.
That's crazy. So talk a bit about that, because that's awesome. Like that's so like to say that, like, you know, because I've worked like a handful of like Nintendo sponsored events and stuff like that, but like that's like nowhere in comparison to like working hand in hand with with the big M. The big N, I guess, in this case. So talk a bit about that, because that's so awesome.
Yeah. I just think it was like such a great experience. Everybody from Nintendo was like so supportive. Like everyone there, who was like representing the company and like running the events, were just so nice to me. Like when I was commentating in the World Championships in LA, I was so nervous. And I remember I met Bill Trennan, and he sat me down and he was like, you're good at what you do. Just like have confidence in the things that you do. And I'm like, you're so nice. I'm gonna go throw up now.
Thank you, Bill Trennan.
Yeah, but like everyone there was so supportive and so nice, and they really, you could tell that they cared about what they did there, because they just like they really wanted to be there, and they really wanted to do good for the people who they invited, the teams that they invited, the viewership. It was just such a really, really nice experience with,
that's so cool.
all the people I got to meet. Yeah.
Quick tangent. Do you want to hear my Bill Trennan story, because it is
yes.
So I remember it was I think it was like 2 years ago, or yeah, it might have been 2 years ago. My friends took me out for my birthday. We went to a Korean barbecue spot in a town near me, and there's a crepe place by where my friend lives in northern New Jersey, and we went there for dessert, and I posted a picture of it on the internet on my Twitter account, and I said it's like, oh, like my friend Glenn bought me dessert for my birthday. And then I think someone that like had ties to Bill Trinan like liked or retweeted my picture, and Bill Trinan replies to my tweet being like, Glenn is a good friend. Happy birthday, Koopa. And I'm just like, oh shit, Bill Trinan knows my birthday. I gotta shave. I gotta do something. Like what?
Mom, I'm cutting this tweet out and I'm framing it on the fridge.
Mom, I'm quitting my job. I'm putting all of my worth into Oregon duck stock and all this other stuff.
Let's go.
Yeah, it was very, very cool. That was awesome. So thank you. 2 years retroactively, Bill Trinan, for wishing me a happy birthday. You're a good man. I appreciate you. And all the work that you've
he's
done.
really, really nice. Like very, very supportive, very encouraging person. So highly recommend.
Yeah, no, but that's so awesome. And like to be able to have essentially a suit, someone that's very popular within like the Nintendo zeitgeist because of the directs and stuff like that, to come up to you and to say it as like, hey, like you're great at what you do. Like that's something that I take away for a lifetime. That's
honestly,
fantastic.
It's cool.
So this leads me to another question, because I think we we both mentioned how we tend to get nervous before commentary and stuff like that. I remember I've gotten past the point where, like, for the most part when I get nervous, but like there's still some instances where like I'm just like, oh crap, like what if I forget to wear pants today, or like I just go through like all those like awful nightmares of like middle school and stuff like that. So it's like I remember I was commentating top 8 of a tournament, and it was like the first time I'd commentated top 8 at like something like of that size, and I woke up that morning and I was just like shitting bricks. I'm just like, oh my god, like what am I'm just like, this is insane, like what am I gonna do, blah blah blah. And then like one of my friends, like he was like leaving for the night, and he like puts his hand on my shoulder and he's like, hey, good luck out there. And I almost like wept. I'm just like, oh god, I just needed that like that one bit of like validation. I'm just like, okay, I got this. And then I took a bus home, and I wept into a cheeseburger because I was so happy. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. My cheeseburger was very wet, but it was fine.
That's okay. There's some sacrifices that need to be made.
That's valid. Thank you for validating my tears into my cheeseburger.
I got you. I'm here to gas you up.
Yeah, which will be the name of my new ska single coming out. Tears in My Cheeseburger. Look forward to that in 2026. We'll work towards that. So that leads me into my next question, because it's just like I had this planned like way in advance first and foremost, but I think the Nintendo gods wanted me to have you on my podcast, Mellana, because last week we got a Nintendo Direct, which featured a plethora of cool things. If you're into JRPGs and stuff like that, we got Pyra and Mithra are coming to Smash. Essentially Octopath Traveler 2, whatever the triangle game is.
Strategy Triangle Project or whatever it's called.
That is a terrible name.
That's what I said when I saw the direct too. I'm like, I really hope they rename that, because
like
I don't know how I can take that game seriously if they
I don't know what is it about Nintendo, like whatever they're like code names are so bad for like whatever they're like not releasing. Like the only one I could think of that was like remotely good was like the code name for the Wii, which was the Nintendo Revolution, which is like kind of badass, but like everything else subsequent was like trash buckets. I like looked at that, I'm just like, what the hell is this? Like
it looked fun though, but like that name needs to go.
Yeah, that's got to be workshopped a bit. We'll work on that. But like, yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff announced and stuff like that. HD remakes of Skyward Sword, which is cool. And then at the very end of the direct, you got there's one more, and we got the announcement of a third Splatoon game. Which showed an inkling and a little buddy, in the desolate remains of what looks like France.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, which has led to some great memes over the week. and stuff like and stuff like that. But yeah, so give me your initial reaction to a third iteration of the Splatoon franchise. Was this something that you were like expecting, or is this something that you wanted? Like, give me the initial Mellana reaction.
So obviously Splatoon 3 has been something that has been talked about for a while, that has been like desired by the community, especially because there's no new updates for Splatoon 2. So we knew Splatoon 3 was probably coming at some point. For me, my prediction was that they would tease something, but not really tell us anything more about it, at the very most. Unfortunately for me, I had an appointment the same time as the direct, so I couldn't watch it live. But as soon as they announced Splatoon 3, the number of tags that I got in Discord and Twitter, and then so I it was ruined for me before. Like, I didn't even have a chance. All of I had members of my community be like, "Oh no, Mel's not gonna live through this. Like, like she's gonna find out."
That is so funny.
I don't really have an initial reaction because I knew it was coming. But I think like what I want to see most from Splatoon 3 is a better netcode system, because it just came out recently that Splatoon 2 runs on a netcode system akin to Windows 98.
Yeah, I remember reading about that. I had to make sure I was like reading that properly. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Like,
Yeah, it's basically like the fax machine noises right here in the background.
the phone dial-up noises. It's like
Yeah.
in the age where like you can't call someone and use a computer at the same time, because then like your reception comes in all scratchy.
Yeah. But I'm taking it with a grain of salt, but it seems like Nintendo's trying to rework their netcode system. So hopefully Splatoon 3 runs on this new netcode system if it comes to fruition.
Yeah. Because I know that one of my other friends did a podcast talking about that, and you know, he's just kind of talking about like, yeah, like Nintendo's netcode system is like heavily outdated, and I think what the first game that's gonna like utilize the new one that they're using is the new Monster Hunter game that comes out next month, or in March, depending on when you listen to this. So I might actually buy. I'm not a Monster Hunter person by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not going to pretend to like it. I might buy it just to see how the netcode fares out, because I am that deeply curious, because that's something that I guess, you know, in the like the muscular arms like shaking hands meme that like Splatoon and like
Splatoon and Smash.
Yeah, is that our netcode is just god awful. So like
Yep.
you know, hopefully you know, that comes to fruition. That does come to fruition, like we were talking about. But yeah, my initial reaction is that like the game, like I wasn't sure what I was looking at. I wasn't like, it looked like
I don't think anybody did. They saw the desert and they're like, well, this can't be Splatoon.
Yeah, is this like Splatoon Zero Dawn, like, or something like that? Is this like Splatoon's take on the Breath of the Wild formula? Like, it was very weird, but
So the reason that it looks like that the Splatoon 3 world is like in kind of a desolate area, is because at the end of every Splatoon game, they have one more Splatfest. So Splatfest is basically like a popularity contest, and then you fight for your side. So that Splatfest at the end of the last game determines the culture of the next game.
Oh wow, I actually didn't know that.
Yeah, so Splatoon 2, their last whatchamacallit, their last Splatfest was Chaos versus Order, and Chaos won. So now Splatoon 3's environment is post-Chaos.
Oh my god, that's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah.
It would have been funny if it's like the last Splatfest was like the ketchup versus mayo one, where it's just like the
world of mayo.
Yeah. Sign me the hell up for that, man. I'm team mayo, just for first and foremost.
Okay, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one.
Oh, you know what? That's another podcast for another day, Mel. So we'll get there. But
all right.
That's so cool. Like, that's such an interesting way to like kind of like shake up the direction of your game and stuff like that. Like, that's,
it's like determined based on the fan base, so I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a choose your own adventure, just with millions of people playing at once. Like, that's insane. That's so cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah, just like as like an outsider reaction, like I think the game like looks cool. The music still slaps, obviously.
Yes, so good.
It looks like there's some like there's some different like avatar customization things where like you're not like bound by like hairstyles and stuff, like aren't bound by gender, which I think is cool. And stuff like that, because like it's I feel like more games need to like incorporate that in general, because like I think Animal Crossing's been doing that for like the longest time and stuff. So like
At least for the last game, for sure.
yeah, which oh god, I should probably check on my animals. I hope they're doing all right.
That's kind of how I feel too.
I'm glad Animal Crossing anxiety runs across all of my friends. That's a fun one. But no, as I think the game looks great. First and foremost, I love the paint logo. I'm a fan of the puke green and the purple.
Puke green and purple.
Or it's puke yellow. I guess that's what it looks like. It's very it's a little gross looking. I'm not the huge. Yellow's very hit or miss for me, but for here I kind of dig it. It's as an accent color, I enjoy it. Do you have a favorite paint color like out of Splatoon? Is there one that you enjoy more than the other?
You know, some of the Splatfest paint colors are like really good. So some of the Splatfest has like just unique colors because of what is being like put up against each other. So I think my favorite paint color is the tortoise versus hare, the tortoise green. It's like very specific.
Ooh, that's good.
It's like a nice melon, like light green.
That's a good one. I'm not like I've always said in the vein of like I forget. It's that like weird like YouTube thing with like the puppets and stuff like that. But like I've never been a huge fan of green unless it's like in a specific style of green. Like seafoam green rules. But like I don't know, so green sometimes can be hit or miss. But I enjoyed the mayo white, obviously of
the mayo white. I feel like that's part of the reason I didn't want to play
yeah.
on Team Mayo. I like did not want to subject myself to that. Or like the chicken and egg. I think Team Chicken was white and Team Egg was yellow, and I'm like, I'm going yellow.
You know what? if you're gonna pick a hill to die on, it's not a bad one.
No.
I'm looking at some of the other ones here. Oh, one of my favorites was SpongeBob versus Patrick. That was a
yellow and pink.
Yeah, that was a fun one. Just concept wise, that's so funny. I think one of them was this is from Splatoon 1. Obviously, it was pro pineapple versus anti pineapple. That was one that went to Europe.
On your pizza? Yeah. Wait, but which team would you be on?
I don't like pineapple. So like I don't like.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm definitely anti pineapple. What hill do you die on? Choose wisely.
I'm pro pineapple.
Okay,
but
that's fine.
I also love pineapples, so it makes sense.
Yeah, that's valid. But like, what were some other fun ones here? Like fantasy versus sci-fi. That was a fun one with like the neon green and stuff like that. Though I think there was one where it's like they matched up like various members of the Ninja Turtles against each other, which was funny.
Oh yeah, I don't know any of the Ninja Turtles, so I didn't know what to pick. I was just like, oh, there's Donatello and Leonardo, and then I have to like think of all those artists that they're named after.
Yeah, I like Michelangelo because he eats pizza. But you know, it
that's relatable.
It's that's what I'm saying. It feels very comfy. Salsa versus guac. The salsa, like the deep salsa red, that was a good one. I'm a fan of that.
But the guac was kind of like vomit color.
Yeah, it was like guac that's been like sitting out for a while.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yes.
I would love to see like I always loved like the creative ideas they have with like the Splatfest and stuff like that. Like I'm very much looking forward to like what comes from that. But yeah,
as long as they don't come up with something like spoon versus fork like they did, I think I'm good.
That's so stupid. Like,
yeah, it is.
Like, come on. Or like, what was another dumb one? I was just looking at one here. I was just like, sweater versus sock.
Socks versus sweater. I knew exactly which one.
I'm just like, what? Those are two completely different things.
It's what would you rather receive on the holidays, socks or sweaters?
Ooh, that's hard. Because like as an adult now, I definitely appreciate. I love getting socks for Christmas.
Yeah, me too. Socks. I'm team socks all the way.
Like socks are how like I express myself at like the gym. I'm the guy with like the weird socks because like I just I got lucky one day at a Target. Quick tangent about socks. But like I'm a frequenter at Target, and they used to have these like weird like novelty design socks, and they had them on clearance for like $3, and they came with like a pack of 5. So like. There was multiple times where I was like, shit, I'm leaving for a tournament in Atlantic City after work, and I forgot to pack I forgot to pack underwear. It's fine. Like I was in a rush out of the house. So I stopped at Target, and Target saved my life on not having to spend like, $12 on a pack of socks.
Oh no, yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
When you're an adult with steady income, you try to cut corners wherever you can. It's definitely socks on the holidays.
Yes, 100%.
But yeah, like Splatoon 3 just it looks interesting. I'm curious what like the buddy mechanic, how that's going to like
Yeah,
phase
me
out
too.
and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Is that weapon in the trailer a new one? She's like the Inklings were holding like a crossbow. That's like, I
Yes,
think
that
attached
is
to
that
it?
is going to be a new class of weapon. We don't have that in Splatoon 2, so people got really hyped when they saw it. They're like, "Oh my god, I knew it was gonna be."
Is there a weapon you would want to see come in Splatoon 3 that you're a fan of?
I would say that probably all of the weapons are coming back into Splatoon 3 because I don't find any of the weapons extremely overpowered. Maybe some of the like variations of the weapon might not come back, but at least every class of weapon that they've introduced in Splatoon 2 will definitely be back in Splatoon 3. You can
That
hold me to that.
I'll hold you to that. I hope we get like I hope they do bring everything back, but I also hope we get like I just want Nintendo to get weird. It's like here's like whatever like the Splatoon equivalent of like the gravity hammer is in Halo. Like just give me that. I just want like swings. Give me a like it's like a mop head and you just like hit on the ground and it just like explodes.
Well,
Like,
there is a hammer special that you just like crush everything in your way.
see? Okay, there we go.
Honestly,
There we go.
they've like gone kind of off the beaten path. Is that what it's? Is that the term? I'm
yeah.
not good with saying.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. So like they have a bidet weapon. It looks like a bathtub, so people are like, it's definitely a bathtub, and then we're like, nah, that's a bidet, bro.
In case you don't know what a bidet is, Google it. But that's very funny. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for Splatoon 3. Like I love Splatoon like as a total casual, and like it's fun to watch. The game comes out in 2022. When? That's your guess is as good as mine. Splatoon looks like it likes to come out in the warm season, so maybe
I hope so.
maybe it'll come out sometime next summer. But that would be a lot of fun. There is one other thing I did want to ask you. And I put this in my show notes because you do have a YouTube channel where you
Yes.
post vocal covers because you're a singer. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, you are correct in saying that.
Yeah. So like you, I knew this about you because obviously we followed each other on social media for a bit, and so like you on your YouTube channel, which I'll leave in the description of all the podcast stuff. You have a couple of covers of some songs that I recognize. You did a cover of your most recent one is of Karen O's Moon Song, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is featured in the soundtrack of a movie I just watched for the first time, Her. Great movie. And that song was nominated for an Academy Award for Best Original Song. And it lost to Let It Go from Frozen. So
Well, so that makes sense, I guess.
yeah, I was just like, really? Like, the song's really good. Like, what did it lose
It
to?
is
And then
very, very good.
yeah, and I was like, oh, great movie, by the way, with Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson. Highly recommend watching it. It's a great movie. And you also did a cover of Eggman's theme, which resonates.
Okay, well,
strong with
that
me.
resonates in a different way, huh?
Yeah, that you're hitting both ends of my personality. Academy Award winning films and Sonic the Hedgehog. So you've definitely covered my demographic, the Koopa demographic, very strong.
Well, I really only appeal to folks like you. This is it. This is my fan base.
So like, how long has music always been something that you've been like interested in? Is this just or was this kind of like a newer thing that you like discovered later in life?
So I've been singing pretty much all my life. I used to like when I was growing up, when I was really little, I just like would sing a lot, and I also like grew up with very little shame in some ways. So like for instance, my cousin and I would be out to dinner. Like our families would be out to dinner, and my cousin would be like, "Hey, my friend's at the table next to us. Can you go like sing them a song? I'll give you $1." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, $1. I'm gonna go sing them a song." This was probably when I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. So.
Oh my god! Wait, I love that because I have a story of similar vein. I remember when I was younger. Because I sing, I dabble in singing a bit. I was in like choir and stuff growing up, and I was in a band for a short stint. So like I did a whole 9 yards when I was in high school. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I was taking like a placement test or something like that, and I was obsessed with the Looney Tunes as a kid, just like growing up. And I remember this teacher had to call my mom. She was like, "Yeah, your son started breaking out in the Michigan J Frog song in the middle of his placement test," and they were like, the teachers were like concerned. And my mom was like, "Wow, he knew the entire lyrics to the song. Like, that's great. That's awesome." So like my mom didn't find it weird at all that I just like broke out in the song when I'm supposed to be like taking a test or something like that. So like I resonate with like the lack of shame when it comes to music.
Yeah. But I think my history with music is probably similar to yours. I grew up with choir. I was in choir pretty much throughout elementary, middle, high school, and then I was in a choir and a chamber choir in college, and then I was in a band after college. So yeah, it's been just a really long journey of singing.
Do you have like are you a karaoke person? Do you like karaoke?
Oh, I love karaoke.
What's your give me your what are your karaoke songs of choice? I love asking my friends this question.
Let It Go and Chandelier.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Good combination. I love that. Oh man, I'd have to. What are mine? Mine is I love Hooked on a Feeling by Blue
nice.
Swede. Great song. Love Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a movie.
Yes. but that song was featured in the movie. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's very famous from. It's like one of the most like watched scenes on YouTube or something like that. It's very funny. But yeah, that's a fun one. What's another good one? I'm always, whenever I go to karaoke, like you always kind of get a vibe of like what the crowd's gonna like, you know. So like sometimes you'll go and like some people are like, you know, are into like the older stuff, like 80s and 90s songs. Some people like resonate strong with like Disney songs, which is like right up my wheelhouse. Most of the time when I go, it's a lot of like mid 2000s like punk music, which is cool.
Okay.
I sing a lot of Queen at karaoke because I hate myself. So like my throat's just shot, and it's it's great. That's one of the things I miss the most of like
me too.
Like I can't wait to like go to a karaoke bar and just like sweat with a bunch of strangers. Like it's great.
Yeah, me too. We're gonna have to go together when things are calm.
I would love to. I would love to be your Disney princess in a duet. We will work that out.
I can be your Aladdin to your Jasmine.
Oh yes, sign me to hell up for that right now. we will make that happen. I have a great. I think like the strangest thing I ever watched happen at karaoke was like this guy was plugging his podcast while he was singing, and I listened to his podcast on my commute home. And I gotta lie, good podcast. This guy, this guy's concept was that he would drunkenly review Disney Channel original movies, which I found very, very interesting. So could you give? So I understand you saying you upload your covers. Is there any covers on the horizon? You want to tease anything while you're here?
You know what it is? I wish I could tease something. But the problem is I don't make a cover until I hear a song, and if I hear a song I like it, I'll learn it in like an hour, and then I'll just put the cover out. Like I just do it right on the spot. Yeah,
that's so awesome. I love that energy.
Yeah, I don't like plan things out. I'm not very good at that. So like, once I hear something, I'll like get like that inkling of motivation, and I'll be like, I'm just gonna spend 4 hours sitting here instead of doing things I actually need to do and just make a cover.
Get that inkling of motivation.
Yeah.
I can't get nothing past me. I'm the pun guy. You can't get nothing past me. I'm always on the clock. So like, do you have any? Who are some of your favorite artists? Like what are some people that you enjoy?
Enjoy listening to or enjoy covering?
Well, it could be both. Like, who are some of like your like musical inspirations and stuff like that?
I want to say that like all the people that I listen to sing songs that I'm unable to sing. So people like Pink or Kelly Clarkson, they sing kind of like a punk rocky, like they have like a punk rock tone in their voice, which I don't have. Like I have a very clear cut voice that I can't, like I don't have that huskiness that that you need for like a rock song.
As
Right?
someone that loves like punk music and like also has a pretty like clean voice, I resonate. Like,
Yeah.
it's I don't have that gruff.
Yeah, I don't know how to make that gruff either. Like, do I just like keep talking until I wear my voice out and then it gets a little bit like hoarse?
I
Then
would
I
start
try?
by smoking cigarettes.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll give that a try.
This podcast does not condone smoking. You do what you want. Do what you want.
Do
Just
what
don't
you
say that I
want,
told
but you know, it's not from here.
Don't
You
blame
didn't hear
me
from us.
when mom grounds you. Okay, there's an there's an explit, there's an E in the podcast for a reason. Okay, it stands for everyone. So anyway, but no, that's I like resonate like a lot with like a lot of the people that like are like my like who I like musically are just like people that I like I can't touch unless I'm drunk at karaoke.
Yeah, and then you ruin your voice anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah, like the high note on Somebody to Love, I can only hit it when I'm like 3 drinks deep. It's fine.
Yes, let's go.
I try every day. And so we can go for about an hour, and I'll leave you with our final question. And this is a question I ask my guests at the end of every podcast because at its core, we're all stuck at home. We're all working from home for the most part and stuff like that. So I found myself watching like a lot more like stuff. I've openly said I'm a terrible consumer of media when I'm like on the go and stuff like that. But now that I've been forced to stay home a lot of the time, that's not the case. So is there anything is there like a movie, a show, or anything you've watched recently that you'd want to recommend to the people that you enjoyed?
Well, I recently have been watching a lot of movies, but I want to say that almost all the movies I've seen are bad.
I love bad movies. Give it to us.
But the best of the bad movies that I haven't watched during the pandemic, but I recommend to everybody, Birdemic.
Ooh, I have not watched that yet. It's
one of my favorite bad movies. It's okay. It's like so low budget and so bad that it is kind of good. Like some of the movies that I've watched that are very serious and like also low budget, but like have like a very well written out script and like very well planned out movies do not even compare to Birdemic. I have just so much enjoyment watching it.
This has been something I've had this on my list of things to watch for a while. I'm trying to watch 100 movies for the first time this year that I've never seen. I'll definitely put that on my list because I've just seen footage of it and it just looks awful and I'm here for it.
It's so bad. It's so bad. You have to tell me what you think when you see it. Like,
I will.
It's so bad. It's also on Prime for free, I believe.
Ooh, hell yeah. And now I will take your bad movie recommendation and raise you another bad movie because this is topical. Cause it was over on Valentine's Day I watched it. So I watched this like 2 weeks ago. There's a movie that came out on streaming services and stuff like that. I rented it for $20 on Amazon because I hate myself.
No.
It's a movie called Willy's Wonderland.
That sounds terrible.
So it is essentially a Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Okay.
Featuring Nicolas Cage. It's basically Nicolas Cage plays a janitor that gets hired to like clean out this like run down like animatronic like place called Willy's Wonderland, and the animatronics at night come to life and try to kill you, and then Nicolas Cage has to fight the animatronics. It is awful. It was so bad.
Wait, is this not like DMCA-able by Five Nights at Freddy's? Because it's like
I don't think so.
Exactly.
It might be, and if it is, I hope it gets sued into the ground because oh my god, it is so bad. Like the movie spends its budget in 2 places. Number 1, Nicolas Cage doesn't say a line the entire movie. He doesn't talk.
No, there's no way.
No, he's a silent protagonist. He doesn't say anything. He does not talk at all the entire movie. I don't recognize a single other actor in this movie. They waste their budget, in my opinion, in 2 places. Number 1, Nicolas Cage, and number 2, Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd. Like, because that song just plays at the end of the movie in like the least like opportune time, and I'm laughing my ass off. It is so funny. It's so bad. Wait for it to be free. Do not spend money on it. But
I
my
kind of
God,
want to spend $20 on it just to see how bad it is.
honestly,
Oh my God, that budget is $5.5 million.
oh, that's bad. If that's the case, my God. Like, I guess like the animatronics do look like kind of believable. Like it's again, it's like it's as you know, the Five Nights at Freddy's is just like taking over like the gamer zeitgeist and stuff like that. So like,
Hmm.
it's fun to see that like that taken to like a place like this with an A-list actor like Nicolas Cage, and like it's like it's like pretty peak Nicolas Cage. Like he's just like freaking weird the whole time in the movie. Like
Yeah.
it's oh my God, like it's so bad. Please, if you watch it, let me know what you think.
I will have to. Yes.
That's fantastic. But yeah, that's so we will leave you guys with that. But once again, Mellana, thank you so much for joining me today, because this is everything that I thought it was going to be, which is awesome and more. And I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your time. And if there's anything you want to plug, please go ahead. Plug away. Where can the people on the internets find you?
So you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/Mellana, Mellana. You can find me on YouTube with the username Mellana TV with a TV at the end, because you know I stream. I'm on the TV.
That's true.
You can find me in the same place on Twitter and on Instagram, I guess, if you really want to look at pictures of me smile. But thank you so much for having me, Koopa. It was really, really fun. It was really, really nice.
No,
I was gonna say seeing you, and I'm like, but I'm not really looking at you. I'm just looking at your little picture.
I'm sure we will get together for sure once this is all
Soon.
over. But again, folks, you can follow me on Twitter at KoopaNJ, like New Jersey. You can follow the show on Twitter at Coop'dUpPod on Twitter, and you can also email us questions like the glorious one I got about my rear end at Coop'dUp@gmail.com. And yeah, once again, make sure to review and like the podcast on all of it's available on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podcast, anywhere you can get your podcasts. Please check us out and review us. And with that said, folks, everybody have yourselves a wonderful weekend and take care.